I am pretty good at Rainbow Six Siege, but there's always room for improvement, which is why in this video I'm going to train my Rainbow Six Siege mechanics for an entire week and see the improvement that it leads to. Make sure you stick around to the end because there are some crazy results from this. And this video was inspired by Mystery, so a big shout out to them. And if you'd like to catch me live on Twitch, I do stream every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. There's a link down below. There are many different areas of your mechanics that you can improve in Siege. You have your crosshair placement, you have your general peeking techniques, you also have your general aiming, and you also have your movement. And that's only naming a few. If we were to get into the real nitty gritty, we'd be here forever. One of the areas that we're going to target during this 1 week is my crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is pretty much the rate at which you aim at that head level so you can immediately one-shot your enemy into oblivion. Because the one-shot headshot mechanic is a thing in Siege, or well it is whenever I face an Ash main, it seems to go out the window and they just flinch when I shoot them. Next up is Recoil Control. If you don't have good Recoil Control, it can end up looking something like this. And then we also have leaning and peeking techniques. These are massive to improve on and is a big area that I struggle in right now. And then we have an aim trainer. Throughout this week I was going to be using their different drills and their ones applied to Siege itself. I also managed to calculate my Siege sensitivity in AimLab too. And throughout this I was going to be training in different drills that would help me improve my leaning and peeking, on top of that my reaction time, my flicking, and my tracking a moving target. And let's just say I couldn't track a moving target if it was moving at the speed that my grandma drives at. So how much training was I going to do each day? Well, here it is. Every single day throughout this week I was going to dedicate 25 minutes to training grounds, which is the main method of practicing in Siege. I would attempt to get as many rounds in during that time where I'd be practicing different weaknesses that I need to improve on, such as recoil control, hence picking the SMG-11, also buck for recoil control, and other methods such as one-tapping enemies only, which would help to improve my crosshair placement. And then over in the aim training side of things, I will be doing 2 grid shot tasks every single day, 2 spider shot tasks every single day, and 2 motion shot tasks every single day. And on top of that, we're also going to add in there something directly from the Siege category of things and doing the peeking and leaning technique, which looks like this. So, day 1, time to get to it. Oh, I've realised what's ahead of me. Now I could just go and install a cheating software like, well, 50% of the other Siege community, or maybe switch to console, go mouse and keyboard, or just pay someone to boost me at this rate. So many options. Must resist. Focus, we have to improve. Right, let's get to it. So day 1 was pretty much going to be outlining the basics of it, getting into the routine of things, and also getting my benchmarks and baselines at which I will be running at. And then we could compare it at the very end of the video with what my score looked like before. And considering I do virtually no aim training in my off time, I'm not expecting big things here. Now my aim naturally was quite good in T-Hunt for this day, however it was generally quite shaky. There was nothing major here, nothing alarming, but it was shaky and wasn't crisp and clean in the movement and confident in the way I was flicking onto my enemies. However, in AimLab, it was a different story, surprisingly here. On day 1, I managed to set a high score instantly, and a very promising one too, hitting the 100k point mark on the Siege peeking technique, but it went downhill from there. Now what this drill essentially does is it allows you to practice your quick peeking technique in AimLab to transfer it over to Siege. You essentially peek a corner and have to hit a target who's standing still, and then vice versa and you switch over to the other side. It relies on you being quick with your mechanic to peek, left and right, and also aim and lock onto the target in a new position. The next drill was Spider Shot, which allows you to practice your flicking onto a different new target in one position, using only one target. You only want to be practicing your flicking here. The next drill was Grid Shot, meaning you had to flick onto multiple targets at the same time. There'll be multiple targets on your screen, you had to flick onto them and decide which one you were going to take out first. And then the final drill was the Motion Shot one, which I was awful at. I couldn't hit a moving target to save my life. Every time that blue sphere popped up on my screen, it was mocking me. Just mocking me, looking at me there when I couldn't even hit it. And that's the AimLab training. I got my baselines from this and managed to get these scores, which are just numbers to you, but they'll mean something towards the end of the video when we compare it. And any games on Siege that I played later that day, I'd attempt to use them all together, the different techniques that I'm learning, and apply them into my gameplay. And that's the end of day 1. Now, time to tell you a story about every single day until you get bored. Don't worry, we ain't doing that around here. Instead, I'm just going to give you a summary of how it went over the week and what it looked like before and what it looked like after. And I saw quite a bit of improvement when I started eating my raw G Fuel powder. So on the very final day of practicing my spider shot, which is my general flicking on one target only, I set my high score for this. My day 1 score on spider shot was 39,781. And then I hit 53,532 on day 7, which is quite literally a score of 13,000-ish improvement. And we ended up ranking on the leaderboard as well. I ended up ranking 13 on the leaderboard globally for spider shot, which is pretty impressive considering we've only been doing this for 7 days straight. My reaction time significantly improved by around about 20%, my kills per second went up, my accuracy went up, overall I was hitting my targets accurately, and my reaction time dramatically increased over it. Another massive thing that I did notice is that my general confidence in my gameplay ability went up by a ton. Because I knew I'd done all I could to prepare for the games ahead, I was confident. Because I knew I'd done my aim training, because I knew I was improving, I was confident. I prepared and I was confident. That extra level of confidence took my gunplay ability to another level I'd never seen before. Now on to motion shot, the one I really struggled with. And it wasn't until around about day 5 that I actually clocked that the method to this wasn't ADSing all the time, and it was actually ADSing and then un-ADSing to hit the target, because that massive ACOG scope blocked the targets completely. The first time that I did this, my score shot up immediately and I had clocked what I was doing wrong. I was now able to flick and track onto the moving targets and hit them with accuracy. I really did struggle with this one, but the improvement gradually over the days helped it a lot. I went from 38,000 to 42,000 for my highest score on this one as well, which again is quite a significant improvement. Now next up was the Siege lean-in drill. Now for this one, I managed to hit my all-time high score on day 1, 100k, which was very surprising, but it does kind of make sense since I've been playing Siege, and I know how to lean in Siege, therefore transferring it over to AimLab wasn't a problem. Throughout that week, I continued to hit around about the 80 to 100k mark. Next up on grid shot, flicking onto multiple enemies at the same time, I hit 50,000 on day 1 and hit 54,000 on day 7. My reaction time on this one increased dramatically, and it was a very significant improvement. Now during the T-hunt throughout that entire week, practicing recoil control, crosshair placement, reaction time, general aiming, my improvement there took off immediately. You can really see the improvement in the aim trainers from day 1 to day 7. Just look at this. It was a lot smoother, a lot easier, and more importantly, it was more accurate. I've been playing FPS games for a very long time, therefore my muscle memory in T-hunt and training grounds was solid. I had aim. However, there was definitely still a shakiness and a lack of confidence in my aim during the day 1. And this was completely eliminated by the end of it. That routine, that structure, that practice that I was doing each day was helping me to be more confident, and the routine allowed me to remove the shakiness of my aim because the confidence was there. The biggest part for me was just having that routine there, because you know that you've done all you can do to warm up and practice for the game. It was a great experience, but am I going to continue to train like this every day? No chance. I can still hear those blue spheres mocking me every time I look at them. But it really does show how much you can improve with a little bit of practice and dedication. Thank you for watching. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe on the video. You're going to want to watch this video right now on your screen, and it's going to help you out even more. And join the Discord server down below.